some of the times we get emotionally charged, and that only usually ends up till the room. The moment we walk out, we know that that would not be the lived reality in future. So bringing this point together, how do you think and how effective do you think the town hall meetings are effective or important in bringing a change within the organization? So,
Interesting.
up to you.
I'll begin. We were just chatting before this discussion, and we were one of the point that we discussed was, should you or should you not say yes to your kids when they demand something, right? Now, what does that say? It one element that I can clearly relate to is the trust. Now, how does the trust build? Trust builds with what you have been doing, which also relates to the culture. As a firm, if you have a culture where you are walking the talk, then every individual who's a part of that enterprise will understand that yes, when this is announced, my firm will definitely make it happen. And if you would have more traces of more examples, more historical patterns of that every meeting, every town hall, there has been something said and nothing followed through, uh, which would make them believe otherwise. And that's a classic example. When you step out, you will say, no, it's all GAN and nothing is going to get followed through. So I would say, what is the culture? Does trust, uh, is trust an integral part of your culture, and do you have enough data points that you have created historically where you are walking the talk? That will set the tone for going forward.
Done very well can be a good source of motivating the large number of your employees towards what organization or leadership wants to achieve. And if it's not done very well, it can be a same good source of demotivation to the employees. Now it changes also upon how you communicate and what you communicate based on how your organization structure is, culture is, right? If it is very hierarchical driven, then whatever you say, they will take it and execute it. If I take an example of a military kind of thing or army, right? The leader says, or the senior most person over there says, and the army execute or the soldiers execute that plan with same level of motivation and all that, because there is a very structure. But the corporate world is not like that most 99% of the time, right? So in that case, how do you ensure that what you are saying is being followed through? You are actually talking about the elephant in the room, and those are the topics generally people try to kind of skip or kind of just do a very superficial reference and avoid the topic, and that doesn't bring that trust or that confidence in that, are you really telling me what is really going on? So how do you make sure that the elephant in the room is being discussed as openly, so that you are not hiding, right, and follow up with the actions?
See, the reason of a town hall, if you look at it, is mainly being transparent to the organization and covering everybody in masses. That's where the thought of a town hall began with. However, nowadays it's just become a check in the box. Yeah, let's do it. It's a quarterly review. Let's talk about our numbers. Are we really talking what the audience really wants to hear? And that's where it is just, if some people are listening, somebody is doing the other work, because most of the town halls nowadays are also done online. In my organization, is done online. People are attending, and we look at the figures. Oh, last quarter it was 2,000 people attending. This time is 5,000. But were these 5,000 really participative, or they were just listening with closed ears because they were not getting to hear what they wanted to hear? And that's where you rightly said is bringing the elephant in the room and just talking about what your figures are.
I guess one of the big picture is that, and as you rightly said, are the employees motivated towards the vision that you have? And creating that motivation requires same alignment across the organization. And how do you do that? So a structured town hall where you start with the vision, mission, your goals and your results and what the learnings, that gives a common aligned picture for the entire population out there. And you do it every quarter, every month. What it tells you that yes, we have the same common goal and consistent approach. And that brings it, okay, I have an aligned view up towards what the company's goal is. And then they can associate themselves with what is happening. Otherwise, if you don't communicate well, you don't communicate what's the company's vision, where do we stand today, what is the future, how are we doing, how is the market doing, the individual employee feels that I'm working in a silo and it's not actually attached to or aligned to the common goal. So once you have, and they can then relate, hey, what I'm doing is actually fitting into this. Other way around, also, what I'm doing is not fitting into this, and then I need to better get aligned. So it gives a common aligned picture. And that's why it's super important that we keep communicating, keep talking, okay? And it has to be very, very structured. It has to happen with a rigor. Otherwise, I guess for a common employee, and today we have most of the employees working remotely, that is the vehicle, I would say, the common vehicle where they can actually find alignment to the overall organization.
It's an amkevas, it can become, unless people participate in it. So it can't be a monologue. So there is a need for us to ensure there is active participation from them. So in our company, we have this MD's talk, every month we have. So the first level thing is around, we talk of safety. So if there are any good safety actions taken, we talk about it. If something has gone wrong, we talk about it. So then it's about people who have done some projects. So various departments, we ask them to present for 3 minutes about what they've done. What I have seen is that many times, as you grow in the organization, certain things which are for you nothing is something great for the person who is down the line. It's about how do you bring them to feel great, important is very important, because town hall is about what? Communicating what the organization wants and making them aligned to the goals of the organization. So once we start doing this, that participation level, anticipation level is also high. So it's about then you go into what you achieved, what we can do better. So once you have them in, I think then it makes things work. Otherwise, it can be just, one-way communication and people you saying the same thing. But there again, the themes have to be very clear. You need to be consistent. And as a senior leadership team, there's an important thing to follow up on what is being communicated there, to ensure that we also talk the same language. Rightly said, once you go out, you said, right, completely people are having a different view. But as an organization, each of the leaders have a responsibility to ensure that it is aligned as we speak to each of our departments and others, because a lot of questions will come there, not in the main place.
So I think James hit the right point. I think everyone wants to hear in a town hall what's in it for them, right? Company numbers is fine. Like data that is published and available out there is good, and you know about that already, right? We hear about Facebook doing, town halls, etc., and it's one-way communication, like you rightly said. So I think the most important components are what is it for me that I'm taking back. How am I going to participate? How am I going to help these numbers grow? One of my CEOs used to make the company problem everybody's problem. So he would ask everyone, okay, fine, this is the problem that we are facing, come up with solutions and meet me. I've worked with CEOs who have not done town halls, which is very different from any other company, and they've gone department to department and they've spoken to everyone personally, and it's been a two-way communication where they've actually shown the financials of the company and kind of gone over them. So I've seen both sides of the coin, and obviously, we're moving from a place of silo communication, one-sided communication, to a place where people want to interact and participate in problem solving. So definitely that is working more today, to my opinion.
Yeah, I think wonderful perspectives. In some ways, it's a pleasure and privilege for me to say that a town hall can be a very powerful vehicle of change and transformation if done well. I start my career with the Indian Army. Some of you mentioned here the forces, right? One war cry by the commander can change the atmosphere of the entire unit, right? A unit which has been sick, dying, demotivated just by this war cry can build mass momentum, mobilization, motivation, whatever you might call it, right? When I worked in the corporate after 5 years of short stint in the army, while there was a lot more talk about town halls, and I worked with some big fours and consulting firms and so on and so forth. I think one of the case studies that I really liked, and probably that'll sum up the entire message here, when Uber was, really down the drains couple of years back because of loss of trust, and a new CEO, without taking names, came over. I think we all should read that case study about doing the kind of town hall with a mass of people who are sitting on mistrust, who are sitting on disillusionment, who are sitting on demotivation, that we don't know what the future of Uber is. It says like this: the CEO walks in and he says, I know I'm not a founder. I am not here to replace history. I'm here to help shape our future. Yeah. And you build something that changed the world. So inviting people in, really, yeah. But with that impact comes responsibility. So today I will not give you a 50-slide deck. I will ask you just one question. What kind of company do we want to be remembered as? And that's powerful, right? You have not only invited people, you have acknowledged publicly what has gone wrong. And we all know Uber did make history after that. So to my mind, I still feel done with the right person, with the right intent, in the right way, it is potentially transformative.